So life isn't always a straight line. I mean, there's a maze right in front of us and our target is to figure out our way out. It only makes sense to me that we don't go in alone. So this is me stretching out my hand to you. So we figure out this thing called life together while we look up to God regardless. You are now listening to the Chidera podcast. Hi guys, welcome back to the Chidera podcast. I am more than excited to be back. I was just looking through our our podcast on Spotify, and I realized that I've really not been around solo episode wise this year. I feel like it's very limiting the amount of solo episodes we've actually had this year. And I'm like, I need to fix that really. It's just been a whole lot of, it's just been a lot going on in my life. And I don't leave that as an excuse to not show up on my podcast. But I feel like as I'm growing daily, a lot of things are just really consuming my time. But that's not an excuse because we need to show up to Blue, right? So I hope to do better in that regard. So, hi. Welcome. If this is your first time listening, my name is Chidera and I run the Chidera podcast. We do spread love and light in this wicked world every other Fridays at 5 p.m. The whole point of my podcast is just shed enough light to the entire galaxy as much as I can. So welcome to this safe space. I think one reason why I fell in love with solo episodes is because it just creates an avenue where I document my experiences and how I'm learning from them and how I'm growing basically through life. I feel like my solo episodes is you guys just having, a picture of my life, lessons I'm learning per season and how I'm coming out of it. The last solo episode I had was really vulnerable. That is echoes of a kind-hearted fairy. I never thought I could be that vulnerable in my life, but I'm so grateful and so proud of myself that I was able to put that episode out. And yeah, I'm so grateful for all the listens and feedback I got, So then I thought to do something. I think like in life is constantly, life is a moving, life is a moving train. And sometimes if you don't slow down, you might get lost in everything. That's one thing I keep telling myself, after. So obviously you've read the title of today's episode. I just want to be vocalizing some of my wins so far in the year 2026. I'll call it the first part since we just entered the second half. So I'll call it, some of the some of my wins in the first quarter. I'm so used to saying lessons, some of my wins in the first quarter of 2026. We're in the second quarter now, so it only makes sense that I share some of my wins. I feel like 2026 in general has just been a breath of fresh air. I can't even explain. I feel like I've gone through, it's just been a chill year, So I'm going to be sharing some of the wins I've had so far. Yeah, come with me. So this year started off, and I'm doing this for documentation purposes. Like I said, life is fast-paced. It is so fast-paced. So I want to listen to this episode 10 years after I remember what happened in my life right now. And I also believe like me sharing some of my wins will inspire you, because I'm not just sharing a win, I'm also sharing something I learned from that win, or the experience that came with the win in general. So I know it's going to bless you. Holy. So let's get into it. So the year 2026 started off slowly, calmly, I got a word from God from the year. It actually started so powerfully. Let me not even joke. I got a word from God for the year. And I decided to take January off for personal time. I just wanted to be stingy with my time. Just be myself. Not really. When I just say be myself, I mean be by myself and just bask in what I know I had received, And it started all slowly. Then my friend died, and can't lie, that experience is something that really broke my heart so badly, because I don't even want to talk about it, but that happened, and so it was really emotional, crying, really wondering how my mom's best friend, because my friend Chidera that died was my mom's best friend's son, how she was going to, it was an emotional time. Like, my mom felt the impact because it was her friend's son. My whole family felt the impact because we're family friends. Our families are close, so it was something that really, but we prayed to God, we offered everything to God, and I know his soul is resting perfectly. He lived such a beautiful life, and I'm so grateful for the life he lived. And it is well again. It is well. So we all meet again on resurrection morning. I also feel like, so that's it. Then I just need a moment of silence, guys. Sorry. May the soul of Chidera, my friend, keep resting in God's bosom. Amen. Okay, so secondly, then the year started off really well. I hosted my first event, so it was really a good one for me. I felt very happy. I felt really good, because hosting events is something I've always wanted to start. So last year, 2025, I became a presenter. I added another stream of income, which was presenting. So I literally became a presenter. I started getting paid to do my thing in front of the camera, and it was so beautiful. It was so good. I was deeply grateful to God, because I was someone who used to, I've always been the mic girl, but coming out of school, I'm like, how can I use the mic in the real world? And I feel like I had a presenters community, and it just felt like everything was coming together. I always tell myself that 2025 was the year that I feel like everything was coming together, if that makes any sense. So it was really good when I started hosting events, because I was doing mostly red carpets, Vox Pop interviews, but then this year, 2026, I hosted my first event, and it was beautiful. The reviews were all over the place. I was so happy. I got a lot of good comments, and I was so grateful. I also prayed a lot to God last year that I could start hosting events, but God had other plans and decided to usher me into that this year, and I am so grateful for it. I feel like the timing was perfect, nothing missing, nothing broken, really, everything working, and I was so happy. I was so grateful. So that was it. So I think my major win in January was hosting an event, and secondly, I'm also part of this health non-governmental organization. So for some very, very funny reasons, I'm feeling the nudge in me to go into health journaling, meaning media knows. If that makes any sense, media knows somehow. So my friend has this NGO, and basically we're just trying to promote health awareness to the public, and he knows I'm great at communications, and he decided to involve me basically. And then the whole outreach that happened in January too, please let's not forget that. So we went to Ikotu Market, and we were doing this whole diabetic outreach. It was so good, you guys. Hey, I was in Ikotu Market. I literally held a mic talking to the whole of Ikotu Market. I don't know if you know how big Ikotu Market is, but I was literally at the roundabout in front of how many people talking. Things I do sometimes bust my own brain, because I didn't even realize how big of a deal it was until I watched the videos. But I think that's a big win. I feel like I'm going into health creation, health journalism. I've just heard a lot of people tell me that. My parents have always told me to go into health journalism. When I mean health journalism, health content and stuff like that. And my coach, my in the presenters community, my coach also mentioned that to me, that since you're a nurse, this would be good. And I don't know, I just feel like somehow it's all making sense somehow. So yeah, I also categorized that as a win. February came. February was beautiful. I think for me, February was when I was experiencing that whole thing at work, that I talked about in my former episode. If you've not listened to Echoes of a Kind-Hearted Fairy, you should. So, I worked a lot in February, but I also had a lot of wins in February. I feel like my major win in February was winning a role at work. Yeah. So people had noticed the media aspect of me, how I love, communications, media stuff. And I don't know, I was sure nominated in my place of work as the media nurse. And I think it was just really cute. Like, they nominated me to be in charge of media activities, in my branch of the place I work. And it was so good. I just felt a bit seen. And it felt so good. And I really remember my colleagues calling me, oh, the media nurse. It was so cute to say, oh, the media nurse, the only media nurse. It was just so cute, And it just felt like maybe the media nurse, maybe truly, health journalism is something I should consider. I don't know how to explain it, but it clicked somehow. And that is another great win in February. God, what else? February was a good month. I was literally doing so much. Like, I feel one thing, in fact, the biggest win in my life. So I've said the biggest win in my life, not like let's say in my life, the biggest win in this season right now is how I'm juggling my life. Like, you guys do not know how I don't even know how I'm juggling it. I'm literally juggling being a nurse, being a content creator, being a podcaster, being TCO the media girl, that's being a presenter. I'm literally doing all that, literally trying to shop for my personal things to advance, my career, which I won't yet, things to advance my career. I'm doing so much, you guys. And now I just recently got added to an NGO, and I'm actually the communications director of the NGO I told you guys about. So it just feels like there's so much for me to do. And to be very honest, I'm even sorry. God, let me come again. Let me say it well. I work in the hospital as a nurse. I run the Chidera on her podcast. I am TCO the media girl. I'm a presenter, red carpet host, event host, anything we concern holding the mic. I have this VA job I do for extra cash. I am the communications director for the Reach Initiative, a non-health governmental organization. I'm trying my best to still advance in my career some way. The list is endless. I'm also a content creator. Like, the list is endless. And I feel like when I just calm down and just think, like, how I'm doing all these things, I just feel like God is in this story. I just feel like God is really, really involved. Because how am I showing up everywhere the way I am showing up? So, yeah. I just wanted to put that out as a win, because I feel like it should be a win. Okay, in the month of February, that's when I traveled to Ibadan for the episode This Thing Called Love. I went from my night shift for that episode, so I think it's also a win. So yeah, that was it for the month of February. The month of February was just my Hallelujah Challenge month and everything. So yes, let's get into March. You guys, March felt so beautiful. I had a word for March and I saw everything come to pass. I'm not really going to get into it, and I feel like you guys, I'm really sorry. I know I'm overly very spiritual on this podcast, but I'm not going to go into it. I got a word for March and I feel like everything happened. So basically, March was so good. March was I didn't even see everything that was coming. Like, it was such a good month and I am grateful for it, So I had hosted my first corporate event on the 17th of March. And I remember being in that hall. So let me give you guys the backstory of the event. The truth is, so the event I hosted in January I told you guys about was a book launch by an Instagram friend. Her name is Adipiju Salami. So I had hosted her event and she loved what I did. She loved it genuinely. And then on the 16th of March, she texted me. This is how gigs come. You guys, I want you guys to know that the way I live my life. I don't know I'm hosting an event 3 months, 1 week. I know sometimes that day. I know sometimes a day before. That's just how my life is. I don't even know how to explain it. And I just feel like God just fuels me. The grace of God just fuels me and I'm able to meet up. So she texted me on the 16th of March and she's like, oh, are you free tomorrow? And I wasn't even free that day. But she told me that, oh, it's a paid gig and everything. So I had to clear my schedule for that day. You guys, I didn't know what the event was. She didn't give me a brief. She didn't tell me because I hosted World Consumer Rights Day by Lagos State Consumer Rights Agency, LASCOPA. You guys, it was such a big event and I had no idea until I got there. I just decided to dress the part, look good, because in my presenter community, they always advise us to look good, you never know. So and genuinely, she didn't give me a brief. She just told me it's a corporate event. So I just decided to dress corporate, where when I got there, you guys, I was shocked at what I saw. You guys had no idea. I didn't know it was going to be that big of a deal. So I remember sitting down, waiting for the event to start, because I really waited. I waited a while before the event started. And while I was sitting down, looking around, like, wow, this is such a big event. Wow, like, I need to. I was just basking in everything. And then the word just dropped in my heart. The sun is going to shine on everything you do. And it just made me really grateful, really emotional. And I was just, because who would have thought, like me, like how? But God is in this story, really. And I am truly grateful for the experience in general. So that was it. So after the whole event, she eventually came afterwards and she asked me how it went. She was doing this whole mentor thing because she's actually also like an event host and stuff. So she asked me how it went. I told her, and then she told me that yes, because she's very used to hosting like Lagos State events. That's what she does. And she told me that, okay, you are so cute. And I was so grateful, really. And yeah, you guys, that was it. Second, there are a lot of things. There are a lot of personal things I won't mention, but March was a good one, just know. And another notable one was, so Lajuriren, you guys know I like Lajuriren if you listen to me closely. Lajuriren, that is, she's an executive producer of the movie Onobere, if you do not know. I don't know if it's still showing in cinemas now, but in March it was the most talked about movie in cinemas. So I had this idea to go with my friends, do like interview sessions talking about the movie, and just put her, just add her as a collaborator, So I know against all odds, I tried to watch the movie because my shift schedule too was really busy. But like I said, against all odds, I went to the cinema with my sister and her friend. We saw the movie and I did my little video. And you guys, she didn't only accept my collaboration. She didn't only comment. She followed me on Instagram. I'm so sorry I'm shouting, but I was so happy because if you know how much I love Lajuri right now, I was so happy. I remember looking at it. I remember screaming when I saw it, and Mesoma and Ibiten were home that time and they were like, what? I'm like, you guys see it? They were like, is that why I shouted? I was so happy. That's another notable win. A lot of personal notable wins, but the first half of the year has just been good. I feel like my major lesson this year is that luck will always meet a moving person. Like a moving person always meets luck halfway. And I know like most of the times it's not easy to keep going, especially when there's a lot of things not in your support. But one thing I'm learning is that a moving person will always meet luck halfway. And that's one word I want to carry, into Q2 and, just into 2026 in general, So yeah, it was so beautiful, so good. I just hope I'm not forgetting any win, but here are some of my wins and I am so grateful. I can't wait for many more to come. I'm still single. But I know God is in this story and it's about to change. But like basically that is how my life has been going so far. Yeah. Oh, you guys, it's my birth month. It's April. It's my birth month. I don't know how I didn't say that earlier, but if you listen to this part, lucky you. It's my birth month, and I actually started a mini series on Substack. It's called 10 Shades of Chidera. So the whole inspiration behind it is because I'm not really I'm not really the vulnerable type. I don't really like to be vulnerable like that. I like to be vulnerable in my journal, maybe talking to a close friend, talking to God. But I'm not really the proud person to be vulnerable on the internet. Believe it or not, I'm not. So I feel like it's a step ahead because, I'm turning 26 on the 23rd of April. And I feel like I've lived for 25 years. That's like 25 years. That's like quarter of a century. So I feel like the lessons or the me that has lived should be talked about, because in the next 10 years time I would not be the same person. I would have grown a whole lot more by the special grace of God, So I'm just praying that I would have grown a whole lot more by the special grace of God. So I just need to share my story, because no other person will share my story. If I don't share my story, it's gonna die, and I don't want that. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to this path. Please spread this episode to the whole world. Just tell a friend. If it blessed you, if me just with you blessed you, just tell a friend, tell another friend, And yeah, see you guys next Friday. Not this one, the other Friday. You know how we do. So yeah, bye guys.